What's up YouTube, it's Shanti Hall here, and for today's video I want to talk about 3 teams who I think people are writing off and have a chance to really surprise people this upcoming season. And I'm not saying that any of these teams are going to be contenders, I'm just saying they're going to be a lot better than people think. But jumping right into it, the first team I want to talk about is the Detroit Pistons, and last season they ended up finishing 9th in the East with a 39-43 record. However, this offseason they ended up firing head coach Stan Van Gundy and hiring last year's coach of the year in Dwayne Casey. Now, Dwayne Casey gets a lot of criticism for some of his decisions while the Raptors were playing the Cavs, but there's no denying during his tenure with the Raptors, he instilled a winning culture there. And that's something that the Pistons desperately need, because with the pieces they have, they should at least be a lower seeded Eastern Conference team. I mean, they have 2 all-star level players in Blake Griffin and Andre Drummond, and Reggie Jackson is a very solid starting point guard. And coming into the season, they'll have all these guys healthy and ready to play, which is something that they didn't have very often last year. I wouldn't call this team super deep, but the supporting cast or role players are decent. They still have Reggie Bullock, who had the best year of his career last season, as well as Stanley Johnson, who's a very solid defender. And then you have Luke Kennard coming into his 2nd year, and with increased playing time, we should see him improve. The Pistons also did make a few additions this offseason. They added rookie Kyrie Thomas, who's a promising prospect, as well as Zaza Pachulia, who's a solid backup center, and Jose Calderon, who adds to their point guard depth. So overall, I'm pretty sure we're going to see a better Pistons team than we saw last season, and I'm really looking forward to it. That's all I really had to say about the Pistons. So moving on to the second team on my list, which is the Milwaukee Bucks. And in my opinion, this team was extremely disappointing last season. They finished with a 44-38 record, which was good for 7th in the East. They just have too much talent between Giannis, Eric Bledsoe, Malcolm Brogdon, who won Rookie of the Year, to be finishing a bottom-seeded team in the East. I think coaching was a really big issue for them, and it's a good thing that they fired Jason Kidd, but Joe Prutney wasn't much better. So this offseason, when they got the opportunity to hire one of the best coaches in the NBA in Mike Budenholzer, it took a big step forward. I really believe we're going to actually see the Bucks play to the potential of their roster. Mike Budenholzer wasn't the only big signing for the Bucks, though. They were also able to acquire Brook Lopez. I definitely feel like one of the weaker spots for the Bucks last season was the center position, and Brook Lopez should be an improvement over John Henson. He should also help space the floor a bit, which is something the Bucks really needed because they don't have many shooters. Now again, I really wouldn't call this Bucks team an actual contender, but they may surprise some people where they end up at the end of the regular season next year. Okay, so now I want to get into my last team, which is going to be the Cleveland Cavaliers. This may be a bit of an unpopular opinion, but even after losing LeBron James, I believe this team can hang around the 8 or 9 spot in the East. They just gave Kevin Love, who has been an all-star the past 2 seasons, a long-term extension, so it doesn't seem like they have any intention of tanking this year. But outside of locking up Kevin Love long-term, I think the Cavs have made some pretty decent acquisitions this offseason. The biggest of which is Colin Sexton, the rookie out of Alabama. Going into the draft, I really wasn't very high on him, but after Summer League, I can say that there's definitely some potential there. And because of the way that he approaches the game and the intensity that he plays with, I can definitely see him making some impact on the Cavs this season. The Cavs also do have some other good young pieces. For example, Cedi Osman, who I think with increased playing time is going to really shock some people. They were also able to sign David Nwaba, who played really well for the Bulls last season, as well as trade for Sam Dekker, who could be a very solid piece for them off the bench. And I've only spoken about the young core of this team. They still have some veterans that could be considered high-level role players. So overall, I think this team is fairly well-rounded and not nearly as bad as people think, and I believe they'll be fighting for around the 8th seed in the playoffs. But those are my 3 teams, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and leave me a like. If you enjoy NBA videos in general, go ahead and subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you guys next time.